Chris Walsh, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Thanks for having me.
Chris, I want to get a lot of different things, but let's go with the latest article that you published a couple of minutes ago with Mel Kiper in a conference call. You learned a little bit of his thoughts on Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, Mel Kiper does these mock drafts, and the first one really for this year's draft was posted today, so they like to promote it with a conference call with reporters, and I got on it, and it just, it's kind of like, you know what, let's just go right to the heart of the matter here. And so I asked him a two-part question, and the second part was, and I said, look, this might be an unfair question to ask, but do you think Jalen Hurts, if he can improve enough to be a legitimate pro prospect at quarterback? And he basically said no. And, he is 26-2 as a starter, and we've seen what he can do. He is a very good college quarterback, but there is a big difference between being a good college quarterback and being a pro quarterback, because the pro game is much more passing oriented, and you have to have a quicker release and so forth down the line. So, the whole debate about Jalen and Tua, which everything points to having a quarterback competition in the spring. I think this just kind of cuts to the matter, because if Jalen is, if he is not a pro prospect at quarterback, if he cannot improve enough, then I think that, maybe he'll be open to doing some other things. And we might see, some situations where both guys are on the field together. And I think that would be absolutely amazing to see. But, there's a lot of talk about, should he transfer, should he not transfer kind of thing. And, in my mind, when you're talking about quarterbacks, sometimes ego gets involved. And if Jalen is convinced that he is a pro quarterback down the line, he's not going to relent on that. And that could lead to some things. But, it's just, right now I got to agree with Mel. It's just from what I've seen so far. But, there's nothing that I've seen from Jalen in 2 years of watching him that he is going to give up. And I don't think he should give up. So I think we are going to be in for quite a competition in the spring.
Well, you look at that, and I said this multiple times. I just don't think Jalen Hurts, knowing the competitor, knowing, whether it's a guy at Arkansas holding his neck down that he could have broke it. We watch him bounce back up. We watch him take, big hits at Ole Miss. And everything that we judge from Jalen Hurts is he is that ultimate competitor. I think he's going to work his butt off to try to give him a chance at this quarterback conversation.
Oh, and I agree. And he is a great team leader, and he gets the offense set. He doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, even though Tua is a better passer, and I don't think there's any doubt about that now, that doesn't mean that he's automatically going to win this job. And that could be in the spring, in the fall, and so forth down the line. Eventually, Tua is going to be the starting quarterback. I have no doubt about that, but I don't know when that's going to happen.
Let me take option number 3 on an article that you wrote just a couple of days ago, SECCountry.com. An offense featuring both here. Featuring both. How much of a nightmare would that be for opposing defensive coordinators not know when and how both of them are going to be used?
Yeah, I think it would be a huge advantage for Alabama. And I think, the play that I really want to see is one of them is lined up, in shotgun formation. The other one is over looking like he's going to take a screen. And then they throw the ball to the running back instead, coming out of the backfield with no one on him.
Wow.
He goes like 80 yards, I think there are just some real interesting possibilities that they could do with this. And that's why the offensive coordinator position, everyone's really dialed in on, well, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Mike Locksley? And I thought it's going to be him pretty much the whole time. But more interesting to me than that is Saban trying to put together this team of people to work this situation, and you can kind of see it. I think Chris Winky's going to be in the mix. They're talking to obviously Hugh Freeze. It's not going to be just one guy. There's going to be a team of people working on how can we take advantage of this situation.
Yeah, to me, that's what maybe is so fascinating. that a guy like Nick Saban, and I know you've written about this, and I mean, here I am distracted in the interview. Nick Saban versus college football. You've talked about this multiple times. When you get coaches who win a championship, Nick Saban's going, okay, this is not good enough. I'm looking to get better. Most coaches would be sitting around on their desk with their feet up in the air going, hey, I'm the national champ. And Nick Saban's revamping his coaching staff here in Tuscaloosa. How can we get better?
Yeah, we've already seen how he can reinvent himself. I mean, the guy brought in Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's already long gone, and I still kind of marvel over the fact that he brought in Lane Kiffin, even though he knew it was going to be tremendous headaches, but he was like, this is how we're going to get better. And Lane kind of dragged him into more modern thinking with some of the offensive things that Alabama does. And now I think he's looking to take that next step. And we've never seen really, as far as I know, we've never seen an offense with two really, really good quarterbacks who could be on the field at the same time. And it's if you're an Alabama fan, if you're a coach, I mean, the possibilities are it's got to be exciting to you.
Chris, I want to go back to this year, and I know you've written about this, Bama Dynasty. Chris Walsh is right now with us, 24 different books, and a lot of those involving the Crimson Tide of this amazing run. But as you look at 2017, what's the one thing that you must tell people about this team as you try to document history?
It's funny because, well, first off, I hate to tell you this, it's the 25th book.
Well, you got to update your Twitter profile then.
Yes, I do. It's
my bad. I apologize, but I was just reading straight from the Twitter profile.
No, I haven't got quite around to doing everything. So
busy guy. I know. I mean, you got a lot of responsibilities. My bad.
No, I hate to say this, but it's like I got my copies of the book like 3 or 4 days ago, and I didn't even get a chance to look at it until last night. So that kind of gives you an idea what my schedule's been like. But it's funny because to do one of these books and have it come out so early, and this is the 4th year in a row that I've done this with Triumph Books, and they have to win the national championship for the book to get published. So 2 have been published, 2 have not. And we started talking about it in, I guess, October, about kind of what direction we wanted to go with this, and we didn't want it just to be a straight, hey, 2017 was a great season for Alabama. We wanted to do something a little bit more. So we decided to go kind of with the dynasty angle, and we're going to include some stuff about all the the other teams that Nick Saban had that won national championships, and I was all set. I mean, I was ready. I've been for 2 months. I've been sitting there thinking 3 months, even longer. I've been thinking they win the national championship. My story is going to be about Nick Saban's place in history, winning 6 national championships. And how the dynasty is at such a high level. And then I ended up writing this story about how the game completely overshadowed all that. I mean, it was just unbelievable to watch that game. So when he asked, what's the thing that you're going to, say to people? And I mean, in the broad scheme, I'm going to talk about resiliency, but the number one thing to me is just that game was just so unbelievable.
We are right now looking at Amazon.com. You could go to your favorite bookstore. I know we have a lot of people outside of the area. It's a very simple book. If you want to download it, available for your Kindle. It's not a simple book. It's just one of those, when you try to describe 2017, it's simply Bama Dynasty. I mean, Chris, it almost takes me back when you talk about the Crimson Tide's road to college football and immortality. When you begin to look at 5 out of the last 9 years. That's even hard to say. 5 championships in the last 9 years. I mean, it's simply amazing. And you and I have got a front seat for watching this dynasty and the way that it's been built.
Oh, I think it was the first time they were playing Clemson. I was talking to Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart. And, we were getting ready to watch the game. And I said, I just said, are you ready to watch history? Because every single time these guys do it, we're watching something historic, and it's been just incredible to watch. And actually, I'm in the process of pitching another book idea to my publisher that's kind of along these lines, because we're never going to see this again. Not my lifetime. I don't think my child's lifetime. This has just been unbelievable. And I really, really hope that Alabama fans appreciate it because, it's this season in particular. I thought things were getting a little stale, and granted, they haven't had a big game at Bryant-Denny in a few years. And, I was kind of hearing more grousing about, we got to go to such and such place kind of thing. And I think that the way that this championship game went down, I think it kind of re-sparked everyone a little bit. And it was like, oh, yeah, this is the greatest thing that we've ever seen. So that's a nice little bonus.
Chris, do you think we'll know something before the weekend about some of these coordinator spots? Obviously, you and I have got our pick. We think Mike Loxley is going to be the guy. Tosh LaPoy is probably on the defense. I guess I haven't asked you, but that seems to be the indication here in Tuscaloosa. Do you think we'll know something traveling into this weekend that's so awfully important when we talk about recruiting?
Good question. I'm not sure, and I think just a lot of it has to do with all the hoops you got to go through to hire someone at the university because it's not a simple process, even for Nick Saban. There's a lot of paperwork that has to get done and so forth. I think, you're going to hear some recruits saying, I'm being told this is going to happen. And there's been a lot of that. So at this point, Nick, when he gets kind of down to these decisions, he everybody knows what the answers are going to be. He doesn't really care that much, about when it gets released and all that. He's more dialed in on the recruiting side. So, unfortunately, we're not the priority right now. So, it'll happen when Nick's ready to do it, but I don't know if it's going to be this weekend.
Chris, who's going to be the hardest to replace from this year's team going into 2018?
Player-wise?
Player-wise.
Minka. And just off the top of my head, they're going to lose everyone in that back end, all six guys in the dime package, and he was clearly the leader of that group, and that's what I really wonder about. Of all the players, all the units that we see, who's going to be that guy in the secondary who's going to step up and who's going to be, hey, this is my unit, I'm going to be the leader. We're a long ways away from that. That's going to take a long time to settle.
Chris Walsh, Bama Dynasty. You can find it simply at your favorite bookstore, Bama Dynasty. Chris, where's the places here in Tuscaloosa that has the book if people want a copy of it today?
I know Barnes & Noble has it, and I know, there's not a Costco in Tuscaloosa, but I know Costco's have them. The second wave I was told it was going to be CVS and Rite Aid, and then the third wave was going to be like everywhere else, like Sam's Club and so forth down the line.
And I'm ready, man. I know I encourage you every time I talk to you. We need a new, updated edition of Nick Saban versus college football because you remember looking at those metrics, and we used to talk about that there was no comparison when we talk about All-Americans and drafts, and you went through all these different numbers. I mean, we're now a few years later, and the numbers have increased crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk to my publisher and letting me do kind of a special edition when Nick finally hangs it up, but I don't think we're close to that. So I think we'll have one eventually. I just don't know when it's going to be.
The 25th book, Bama Dynasty, Amazon.com. Chris, as always, thank you for your time. I hope you have a great afternoon.
You too, and I'm going to go change my Twitter handle right now.
Yeah, please. And hey, pin that. Let me give you some advertising. Pin that book to the top of your Twitter profile.
Yeah, I need to do that too.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Just to click the pin, man. Click the pin. Chris, thank you, man. Have a great afternoon, sir.
Thank you. You too.